What's up, you guys? I'm Rachel Demita, and welcome to the Courtside Club. The WNBA has been a reality TV show lately. The kind of madness surrounding this league, the storylines that we are seeing daily, is like nothing we could have scripted if we tried. So to round out this week's worth of content, there's a few more storylines that I want to talk about with you guys, and I want to start with some relatively good news, and that is the fact that the FIBA World Cup qualifying tournament is just around the corner, you guys. In less than a week, we are finally going to get to watch some basketball again. We are finally going to get to talk about basketball again because Team USA will be competing.
Team USA coaches faced an immediate, gut-wrenching blow as star players Aliyah Boston and Sonia Citron were sidelined, unable to suit up for the crucial FIBA World Cup qualifying tournament. Their absence, a direct result of injuries sustained in the controversial Unrivaled League, cast a long shadow over the squad even as the excitement for a new era was building. The timing couldn't be worse, sending an undeniable signal about the deep conflicts brewing beneath the surface of women's basketball. This unexpected setback forced an instant strategic recalculation, highlighting a turbulent landscape before the first whistle even blew.
And it was just announced that TNT Sports has acquired the exclusive U.S. English language broadcast rights to the world-class FIBA men's and women's tournaments in a multi-year deal. And this is coming after the fact that so many fans were asking, where can we watch these games? Where can we watch these games? Because this will be the first time that we get to see Caitlin Clark suit up in her senior jersey for Team USA. Now, I did think it was quite interesting that TNT is the one who got these rights because TNT also has the rights to Unrivaled basketball. And we have seen some of the ratings from Unrivaled, and they haven't been great. The television ratings for Unrivaled have not.
The anticipation for Caitlin Clark's debut in her senior Team USA jersey was sky high, igniting a fervent buzz among fans eager to witness her next chapter on the international stage. This moment was poised to be a celebration, a fresh start for a team looking to dominate. Yet beneath the surface of this thrilling prospect, a complex web of league politics, player welfare, and contractual disputes threatened to overshadow the pure joy of the game. Her arrival, while momentous, landed squarely in the middle of an escalating high-stakes drama, immediately changing the narrative.
You kind of got to pick a side if you're supporting the WNBA and you want to see them succeed, or you're supporting Unrivaled and you want to see them succeed, because some of the dialogue that we were hearing from co-founders of Unrivaled, from the players who played in Unrivaled, were essentially saying, like, we don't need the WNBA, we have Unrivaled. They're paying us a lot. They're covering, what the WNBA doesn't cover. And I'm going to be brutally honest with you guys, I don't actually think that Unrivaled gave them any leverage in negotiations, because you can see from the viewership, like, Unrivaled can't compete with the WNBA and everything that the WNBA has built over 29 years. And I know Nafisa Collier kept saying, like, we're running a sustainable business.
But the expected triumphant narrative was quickly complicated. The reality of Team USA's roster was starkly different from what many had envisioned, with two critical talents unexpectedly missing. This wasn't merely a roster adjustment, it was a glaring symptom of deeper structural issues plaguing the sport, creating an instant headache for coaching staff. The juxtaposition of Clark's celebrated entry with the quiet but significant void left by injured players underscored the immediate challenges facing the program, demanding an urgent, if unspoken, reaction from leadership.
A conflict of interest, and it definitely turned from something that started as an off-season league where players didn't have to go overseas to a way to actively put down the WNBA. And even, sorry to ramble here, but even when we think about so many fans and players saying that we have to, give back to the players who came before, and look at what all of these older players did before us, like the Lisa Leslies and the Cheryl Swoops and the Diana Taurasi and all of these players who played before, a part of me is like, you want to burn down the league that all of these players helped to build the foundation for in the WNBA. Success was never built overnight.
The root of this problem stemmed directly from the Unrivaled League, an off-season venture initially designed to offer players an alternative to overseas commitments. What began as a seemingly beneficial initiative quickly evolved into a contentious battleground, putting players' health and their primary league commitments at risk. The injuries sustained by Boston and Citron in this rival league served as a stark, undeniable warning sign, forcing Team USA coaches to contend with the unforeseen consequences of a fractured ecosystem.
in any of these major sporting leagues. Even if you look at the NBA, we talked about this a couple months ago. If we look at the salaries that the players are going to make in the WNBA this season, if they agree to the deal that is on the table, they will actually be making more than NBA players did during their 30th season. If you equate for inflation and all of those types of things, that means that they're actually ahead of where the NBA was at in their 30th season. And so that's why, like, it came out to me like, at the end of the day, you guys, I'm always going to be a purist when it comes to the NBA. They're the best league in the world. They're the best league in the world for a reason. And I feel like they have done so much to support the WNBA, and I'm rooting for the
Unrivaled's rapid ascent and its increasingly confrontational stance against the WNBA created an undeniable tension. Co-founders and players associated with Unrivaled openly declared their independence, suggesting the WNBA was no longer essential. This narrative, Unrivaled pays players, became a rallying cry, directly challenging the established league's authority and sustainability. The public declarations further exacerbated the already fragile relationship, fueling a divisive atmosphere that permeated every aspect of women's professional basketball, reaching far beyond the court.
Team, the final roster for these games. And a lot of fans, including myself, like I saw the roster and I was like, wait, where's Aaliyah Boston? Where's Sonia Citron? And they will not be playing in this tournament because they were injured in Unrivaled. Now, we don't know the extent of either of their injuries. It seems like any of the injuries that happened in Unrivaled, they're definitely keeping them under wraps. All we know from Aaliyah is that it's a lower leg injury, and she is back with the Indiana fever, and I think that they are evaluating her, but everything about her injury has been super hush-hush. We do not know how severe it is. It doesn't seem like she's walking with a brace or limping or...
Initially conceived as an off-season opportunity, Unrivaled swiftly transformed into a strategic tool during intense collective bargaining agreement negotiations. Players leveraged the new league as a counterpoint, aiming to secure higher salaries and better conditions within the WNBA. However, this tactic escalated, creating an uncomfortable pick-a-side dilemma for fans and pundits alike. The league's initial intent was overshadowed by its role in a high-stakes power struggle, complicating an already delicate negotiation process.
Very selective with where they're playing, how they're spending their offseason, because I think it's going to affect their pockets when these owners are dishing out these $1 million plus contracts. And this was also some breaking news of the day, you guys. I'm not going to get too into this yet because we don't have all the details, but WNBA star Arike Ogunbowale was arrested for allegedly punching a man at an Unrivaled celebration. This was at Club 11 in Miami, which is just, it's just so funny. You had the Team USA men's hockey team like singing the national anthem at 11 just a couple weeks ago, and now the girls are celebrating their Unrivaled championship at 11.
The WNBA, understandably concerned about player health and commitment, initially sought exclusivity clauses in the new CBA aiming to prevent players from participating in other leagues during the offseason. This proposal, however, was quickly taken off the table, signaling a significant concession. The league's desire to protect its investments and ensure player readiness for the WNBA season directly collided with players' free agency desires, creating a tension that manifested directly in the Team USA roster challenges.
But this survey was actually leaked, and once again, shout out to Howard Magdal because he was the one who got this information. We do have the questions here. It's kind of silly because, again, I don't really understand the reasoning for this survey, because it seems like the way that they were posing the questions wasn't really to see if the players wanted to play or wanted to strike. They're very, okay, I'm just going to read through them because it's hard for me to explain without showing you an example. So it says question 1A, would you accept the league's proposal of 50% of net revenue, which is less than 15% of gross revenue, and an 8-year deal, or ask the union to keep negotiating? Vote for.
The decision for players to engage in off-season leagues like Unrivaled comes with substantial financial implications and risks that extend far beyond immediate paychecks. While offering short-term gains, these ventures expose athletes to potential career-altering injuries, jeopardizing long-term WNBA contracts, including lucrative supermax deals. Coaches, keenly aware of the investment in their players, must silently weigh the cost of these choices, recognizing how they could impact player availability and performance for the WNBA and national team duties. Aaliyah Boston's lower leg injury, sustained during Unrivaled play, remains shrouded in secrecy, with details kept tightly under wraps. Despite being back with the Indiana Fever for evaluation, the severity is unknown, leaving fans and team officials in limbo. Similarly, Sonia Citron's injury also led to her exclusion from the Team USA roster. These incidents underscore a critical concern for coaches and team management, the lack of transparency surrounding player health when competing in outside leagues. The hush-hush nature of the unrivaled injuries, particularly Boston's, echoes Caitlin Clark's own struggles with soft tissue injuries last year, which sidelined her for nearly an entire season. This history highlights how non-catastrophic injuries can still severely impact performance and availability. For Team USA coaches, this medical uncertainty is a nightmare, forcing them to plan around unknown recovery timelines and potentially compromise player health, a frustrating reality when preparing for international competition. Boston's injury carries additional weight as she was reportedly eligible for a max contract this season due to her impressive WNBA performance. This situation puts owners in a difficult position. Are they willing to pay a supermax salary to a franchise player who risks injury in off-season leagues? The WNBA's original push for exclusivity makes perfect sense in this context, directly addressing owner apprehension and raising tough questions for player agents navigating these complex financial and contractual landscapes. The FIBA qualifying games kicked off just one day after the critical March 10th deadline for a new CBA agreement. This tight timeline amplified the tension, turning every WNBA negotiation into front-page news. Whether a deal would be struck in time remained a huge question mark, adding another layer of uncertainty to the season's start. This created an incredibly high-pressure environment for both players and the league, with implications reverberating all the way to Team USA preparations. Amidst the CBA stalemate, WNBA players continued to post defiant messages like "unrivaled pays players," showcasing a fractured front. The players' union, having received the WNBA's proposal days earlier, delayed submitting a counter-proposal, sparking frustration. This prolonged deadlock suggested a deeper disconnect, with the unrivaled narrative becoming a symbol of player discontent, further complicating negotiations and signaling a potential for prolonged conflict, making unity appear increasingly elusive. Further complicating the already tense negotiations, a confidential WNBA player survey was leaked, revealing a deeply flawed and potentially biased attempt to gauge player sentiment. Obtained by Howard Megdal, the survey's phrasing appeared designed to steer players towards specific answers, questioning their understanding of negotiation complexities. This leak exposed internal disunity within the Players Association itself, fueling suspicions that the survey was more about control than genuine feedback. One survey question, for instance, asked if players would accept 50% of net revenue, framing it as less than 15% of gross revenue, a figure the league hadn't actually offered in some time. Such misleading questions highlighted a lack of clarity and transparency in the negotiation process. This raised serious concerns about whether players were receiving accurate information, adding to the confusion and distrust that permeated the entire negotiation process, hindering any genuine progress. The survey also delved into player priorities beyond just revenue, listing options like improved housing, retirement benefits for past and present players, and limits on additional games or season length. Interestingly, many players resisted extending the WNBA season, a stance often attributed to their desire to participate in off-season leagues. This revealed a fundamental conflict, players prioritizing external opportunities over the WNBA's long-term growth and its quest for increased visibility and revenue. Adding another layer of off-court drama, WNBA star Ari McDonald was arrested after allegedly punching a man at an unrivaled championship celebration in Miami. While details remain scarce, the incident, reportedly stemming from an unrelated altercation, quickly became public. This high-profile arrest linked to an unrivaled event served as another unwanted distraction, contributing to the reality TV show narrative surrounding the WNBA, further testing coaches' patience for external controversies. The irony was not lost on observers. TNT Sports, the network that hosted Unrivaled, also acquired the exclusive broadcast rights for the FIBA men's and women's tournaments. This dual role inevitably set up a direct comparison of viewership ratings, with Unrivaled's past struggles potentially casting a shadow. The stakes were incredibly high for women's basketball viewership, as Team USA's games featuring stars like Caitlin Clark would now be directly measured against the very league causing internal conflicts. Ultimately, the long-term sustainability of women's basketball hinges on its foundational league, the WNBA. While player choice and free will are paramount, the proliferation of off-season leagues coupled with the ongoing CBA disputes creates a complex, often confusing environment. For the sport to truly flourish and offer a sustainable, lucrative future for generations of players, a unified vision and a focused commitment to the WNBA's growth remain essential, requiring difficult decisions from all involved parties. So, as Caitlin Clark took to the court for her first Team USA practice, coaches weren't just observing her incredible talent, they were also instantly reacting to the precarious landscape she entered. A team missing key players due to injuries from rival leagues, a WNBA grappling with contentious CBA negotiations, and a sport navigating its own internal conflicts. Her arrival symbolized immense potential, yet it simultaneously underscored the profound challenges demanding immediate attention and strategic wisdom from every level of leadership.